honestly run everything through Southwest. That
Yeah.
served us well.
Okay, we're a go. We're live.
Onwards.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming. We're going to start the March meeting of the South Kingstown Recreation Commission. Today's Monday, March 17th, and the time is 6:36. We'll call this meeting to order. And roll call today, we have John Hanson, Joanne Blessing, Sean Johnson, and myself, Will Litvin. And absent, we have Matthew Frazier, who was just appointed to the Recreation Commission this week. And from staff, we have Terry Murphy and Rex Everly, and Link is not with us tonight. Did anyone have a chance to review the minutes of the March 2025 meeting? And if so, would you like to make a motion to move those minutes? Motion by Joanne,
Second.
second by Sean. Any further discussion? None. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, so we have some guests tonight. Hi, everyone. We're gonna move the correspondence and public comment along with the agenda items that correspond to the reasons that you're here up to now. So that way, you're welcome to stay after. We have a lot of other exciting stuff on the docket, but you don't have to. Don't feel pressed. So if everyone's okay with that plan, I'd like to move old business item C up to the top. And that is a request from the South Kingstown Little League to hang sponsor banners at the West Kingston Park and additional sponsor banners at Tuckertown Park Little League fields. And we have Mike Previty here.
How you doing?
Hi, Mike.
President of South Kingstown Little League. Yes, so we're making this request because specifically West Kingston, and I believe it might have been Curtis Corner too, I'm not sure. But we have a softball program that's growing, and we have 70 girls now in that program. And a couple of sponsors have requested, just softball only sponsors. So our softball program doesn't play on Tuckertown Field. They only play, West Kingston, Old Mountain, and Curtis Corner as of right now. So we figured that if sponsors wanted to sponsor softball only specific, we'd give them the opportunity to buy a banner and put them on those fields. So when our people are playing, they'll be able to see the advertisements. And that those, as with any banner, those costs offset our league costs, they offset uniform costs, and they also offset maintenance costs in our partnership with the town. So those banners actually go directly back into field maintenance for the town. Same with the cage banners that we want to put up on Tuckertown Field. Now those banners are going to be slightly bigger than the banners that we have now. They're 3x5 on the field. They're going to be 5x8. And we got several requests this year to our scoreboard signs that we sell for sponsorships. We got multiple people wanting those scoreboard signs. So we figured that a slightly bigger banner on the cages, 5x8, would satisfy that requirement. We have actually 2 people that requested those right now. Again, those are offsetting the cost of field maintenance. Also, this year that we've been notified that we're going to be painting our own lines this year at all the fields. So we cover Brousseau Field, we cover Tuckertown, Curtis Corner, the West Kingston obviously, and Town Farm. So those fields that we're going to have to drop equipment in those fields like lining machines, chalk, rakes, and just regular maintenance stuff. So our budget this year is going to, just the startup cost this year will be between about $5,000 and $6,000 just to get that equipment up and running. So those will offset our cost phenomenally.
Thanks. Terry, do you want to, or Rex?
Yeah, Rex, do you want to?
So, yeah, the last meeting that this is discussed, I think a couple of questions were raised, and you answered my concerns, but the one concern was about West Kingston Field, that the banners face in towards the spectators and not out towards 138, and you answered that question.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Those were approved, like the banners for West Kingston, Curtis Corner, the regular outfield banners, all approved. I think the one item that there was a question on were the cage banners, is that correct? The size and,
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
The size and the
you
number
understood
of,
that.
number of them on each cage, yeah.
So we're thinking that the cage banners would go up on top of the cages, and we're thinking like size of the cages are like 30 feet, I believe. It would be no more than 3 to 4 per cage, and they'd be on top of the cages. So they wouldn't be covering the field, they would be on top of the cages. Spectators, if they sat behind the cages, which they usually don't, and still see the field.
Okay. So they wouldn't encumber anybody.
No,
Viewer enjoyment.
we're not covering the whole cages.
And parents can watch their kids in the cage.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, wait a minute, that would be annoying.
Yeah.
Need to watch the kid taking swings.
So those will be on the outside of the cage facing the parking lot, not on the inside facing the field,
Right,
right?
they'd be on the inside, like down at the lower fields, they'd be facing up, and in the upper fields, they'd be, you know.
The upper field facing the parking lot
Yeah.
as well? Okay. Are they both the same size? Each
Both
cage?
cages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to remember. And it's a hard link fence or
Yep.
is it soft netting? I'm trying to remember. Okay.
Chain link fences.
So you'd be able to hang them, no problem.
Yeah,
And
on the inside.
in a nice way, I guess.
Inside there's netting, but the outside is all chain link.
this would be the standard sort of plastic material.
Yeah, so
for
they
the,
conform with what we have with the banners now on the outfield. You have recreation green has a border on the outside, and the sponsor goes in the middle.
yeah.
So everything would be uniformity.
And then banners, were you saying just the same signs that you have already on the scoreboard?
So
What's
the
on there?
scoreboard signs are different because you gotta get those custom made.
Okay, and then
These are
on,
plastic and wood, and they bolt right into the scoreboard.
you're not talking about a banner hanging on the
No,
scoreboard or anything
no.
like that?
Yeah, my concern was just how many of them and visibility for parents watching the kids
Yeah,
and thinking like the banners were like bigger than the kids themselves and if it was like cage game. But if they're up high, then I'm happy about that. Yeah, thank you.
And would staff go on ladders to get those up? How would you guys?
We're not gonna be responsible for it.
so yeah, so we go up and hang them.
Okay.
We hang the field banners now,
Yeah.
and we hang the sign on the scoreboard, so we do all that. And we're all covered under our Little League insurance.
Yeah, that was maybe the next question. Okay, great.
Yeah.
You take those down at the end of the
Yeah,
season
we
too,
take them
right?
down at the end of, usually toward the middle of summer, because if we have all-stars, we continue into all-stars. Actually, we end up taking them down sometime in the fall, because we have a fall ball.
Yeah.
program, too. Down in the winter.
One last question, the softball fields, do they have a batting cage at that Russo field? Are we talking about that as well?
So Russo, no, not yet. I mean, Russo's strictly a baseball field right now, so we don't have any.
Or where you play softball? I mean, what?
Softball is Curtis Corner.
Curtis
Curtis
Corner.
Corner, I'm sorry,
Corner.
Curtis Corner.
There's no batting cages at Curtis Corner, I believe.
No. Okay.
So they'd only, so these
Really?
would just be strictly for Tuckertown.
Gotcha. Okay.
Can I ask one semi-related question? You had mentioned the costs with doing the lines,
Mm-hmm.
and you listed a bunch of the fields. Did you name the fields by the rec center and the dog park? Is that part
Yeah,
of
Broad
the
Rock
plan
too.
as well?
We'd
Okay.
go into Broad Rock too.
I make a motion to approve
Yeah.
this plan.
Yeah, unless the staff has any issue with the banners, we approve the others. And obviously want to continue to support the Little League and appreciate, you guys kind of taking on the line striping with
Yeah.
what's going on. So if no other discussion, John would like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And
Second.
clarification, that is to approve banners on the batting cage.
That's correct. The other, to approve banners, motion to approve banners on the batting
Yeah.
cages. The other motion had already been approved last month for the others.
And hanging
Okay.
from the top would be
Hanging
awesome.
from the top, and that's specified 5 by 8,
Yep.
3 to 4 per cage.
Perfect.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, are you willing to second that, Sean?
Second.
Second
Yep,
by Sean. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Yeah, I hope you guys
Yeah.
have
a great season, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for coming. All right, in the spirit of bouncing around, we're going to go straight to new business item E, which is a request for a special use rental of Saugatucket Park by the Contemporary Theater Company. That will be on August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of this summer to hold a Renaissance Fair event. We have some Contemporary Theater here tonight to tell us about that.
Is that on the weekend?
So, I'll fill it in. Yeah. Last year, we held a mini Renaissance fair on our property to kind of gauge community interest, and it was a smashing success. So this year, we decided to move forward with a larger event. We, back in November, submitted and were approved for a grant from
the Commerce Department. They were doing a RI Rebounds. It was for events, and it was kind of like the last of the COVID money, but they wanted to get out there.
So we were approved for that grant, which was really exciting. So we would like to have really a 2-day rent fair at the park. The Friday, most of the day Friday would be set up, and then we're having an event on our property Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday would be full days at the park. I don't know how specific you want me to get. How many details you want me to
So I'll tell you, we have some notes already. I'll kind of mention what we have, and maybe if you want to fill in the blanks. The event will involve food trucks, artisan vendors, live entertainment. Superintendent Eberly has met with the Contemporary Theater Company, gone over the requirements for insurance, how the park may not be utilized, need for further permitting with the town for like mass gatherings, depending on sizes, and that's our note.
So we are in the process of adding the event to our insurance. We will be getting the mass gathering permit, of course. We are going to be in contact with the town police to have a police presence as well as an EMS presence at the event. Those are the highlights. We'll have porta-johns, obviously. I think trash will probably be moved over to our dumpster at the theater. I don't think we'll need a dumpster at the site. We have one just across the footbridge.
Okay. Alcohol?
That was
There's
my
some
question.
alcohol on our patio, but none at the park.
Okay.
So
Are they able to
the alcohol
move
out
said
of our
alcohol?
patio.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
We do Oktoberfest every year,
Yep.
so we are very familiar with
Yep.
keeping people from taking alcohol out of our property. The plan is not to have any alcohol because
We don't even want to.
we don't need a park full of
Right.
people drinking.
Only SJ300 takes that.
I know.
I was like, for the 300 there was.
Yeah,
so that's fine.
right.
But,
But there will be alcohol on our property,
Right.
but
Okay.
that is all under our liquor license, and we will have people
Right.
stationed so that you stop everyone and make sure.
Yeah,
that they don't.
similar to the other festivals that you guys.
Yeah, and we're hoping that people will go back and forth between
Sure.
our space and the park.
Yeah.
You know,
Cool.
right
That'll be
across the
like
bridge.
Your garden.
But yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There'll be jousting.
There, not in the
Make or break.
there will be horses.
I was joking, but now I'm not.
But there might be some form of like
Like a demonstration.
something.
thing.
There
I
will
did
be
see
horses. There
online
will
this
be horses.
hobby horse competition.
That is what
You
we're
know
talking
that,
about, yeah.
It's a Scandinavian thing,
It's
but
a
maybe
thing, it is a thing.
I'm feeling that could be huge
Yeah,
in,
we're
in
talking
South
about
County.
that's exactly what we're talking about doing. So yeah.
And
Actually-
there currently isn't a Renaissance fair in Rhode Island.
Right.
There are big Renaissance fairs in Connecticut and Massachusetts, but it's kind of an untapped market in Rhode Island. But there are lots of people who go to Renaissance fairs in Rhode Island.
Right.
So this will be just the weekend before the big ones in Massachusetts and Connecticut open. So we're hoping to bring a lot of people.
Yeah.
Are you charging to
Yeah.
get on? Okay.
We are. So
How's
it's
that
a
going to work?
$15 ticket. We are probably, well, not probably, we're definitely going to put up fencing of some sort. It'll probably just be snow fence, nothing like, if people really wanted to climb over it, they could. But we would like to put fencing up just to kind of corral people towards our admission tent. And we will charge admission because the intent is that this will be a fundraiser for us. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. So we would like to make this a yearly event that ultimately is a fundraiser and friend-raiser for us.
Yeah.
But we are planning on charging admission.
Onto the Saugatuck Park area.
Yes.
And do you think there would be a way or any possibility of the admission? It's almost like when you go in New York, like to the Natural History Museum, where there's an admission, but really it's a suggested admission, so that way some community members may not feel alienated if they can't pay. I mean, is there any possibility of coming up with
We do that a lot. We do have like varying
Yeah.
pricing structures for like most of our
Okay.
performances
Yeah.
and things like that. So we can absolutely look at figuring out some kind of suggested
Yeah.
donation or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Because I know that you guys have charged admission for, the private commercial property, but being that it's in a town park,
Yeah.
I'm just a
yeah.
little sensitive to the mandatory charge.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Being it that the park is supported by the taxpayers and stuff like that, but I don't know if I don't want to go too far down that road, but
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, we could talk about
Yeah,
it.
because
but-
I'm perfectly
but I-
comfortable calling it a suggested donation.
Yeah,
or
for
we
the
need a plan
8%.
for something, yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
have we'll sell tickets online as well,
Cool.
but we can put on that like it is that like at the door it's suggested. that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the same amount.
I mean, we wouldn't want to affect the fundraising amount or the bottom line, but trying to kind of find a happy.
I mean,
Yeah.
happily this year we have gotten
Yeah,
this right to
that's
put
a
on the entire
reasonable-
thing, but yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
transparent and look, this is to help raise funds
Yeah.
so we can
Yeah.
continue with our own
Yeah.
programs and to
Absolutely.
cover the cost of the Renaissance Festival. So yeah,
I mean, people are going to want to, because they're going to want to support, the contemporary
Yeah.
theater. I mean, you guys are a huge, aspect of our town. So,
Mm.
how many food trucks are you thinking? Because that's the other thing that we get worried about too, because we have lots of local businesses and other restaurants in that area. Where suddenly we get 15 food trucks.
Probably only 5 is like the general area that we're looking at right now. Happily, we have a good relationship with like Duck Press. We're going to see if they want to be one of the restaurants that has a food truck. And I'm sure you know that Phil's is under new owner. It's not Phil's anymore. What used to be Phil's restaurant is under new ownership, and we've started a fantastic relationship with the new owners of that restaurant who might also participate in the event. So we are certainly mindful of that and have reached out to some local restaurants already to see if they would like to participate in the event. But also, it's not a food truck event, so there's never going to be more than.
and it's not in conjunction with the Wakefield Village Association
No.
in any way.
No,
Okay.
not affiliated.
I think the only other question I have or suggestion is about garbage.
Yeah.
I would definitely suggest putting cans out and
Oh,
just factoring that in your volunteer
Yeah.
efforts that that garbage and clean up afterwards too. Where
Yeah. So
It's in
it's
our
10 o'clock and
it's
everyone
in
goes
our
home.
budget to have people that are dedicated to just wandering around the entire day and picking up.
Yeah.
trash.
that's going to be their only job.
Yeah.
It sounds trivial, but it's a huge.
Oh no, yeah, no, we understand. So just to, I don't know if this will help. I'll give you a bit of my background. So I left this job about 6 months ago, but for about 10 years prior to that, I worked professionally as a large event planner. So things like how many garbage cans you need per people and how far apart they should be, and
Yeah.
those are always like right at the top of my brain because it is what I did for a living for a long time. So.
Oh, that's great. You're hired. A couple more things on the docket. Maybe. Rex and Terry, anything that we should be aware of, or
The other thing I want to say is I've always wanted to see more events like this in the park. I think that's the intent of the park. And after meeting with these two, I feel really comfortable that they thought of things that I didn't even think of, and they have a lot of experience. The fact that they're neighbors to the park, I think helps a lot too. We know where they are. No, I feel very comfortable with this request.
and
Yeah.
I think it definitely will showcase the park and the improvements that have been made. I'm sure as you guys
Oh,
have
yeah.
seen going
The
on, and
repaving. I
And
mean, yeah,
we're so
we-
excited.
And I have loved from our patio the fence going down on the other side. It just makes it's such a beautiful view over there, and yeah, it's been so nice.
Great. Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully it'll be
Correct.
hugely successful. I mean, with the whole conversation about, how to repurpose the school property abutting the park. You may or may not know the commission has advocated potentially for even an expansion of the park to a certain extent. Obviously, it's all going to be decided by the town and the stakeholders, but it could really showcase how well this park can be used. So, yeah.
Great.
Can I just ask a quick question? 'Cause sometimes in some of these conversations that we've had, I've struggled to understand where the park ends and where the school begins. I think about the playground and the parking lot specifically. Are you asking or hoping or thinking of using the parking lot? Think like the food trucks?
No. So our intention is for the food trucks to pull onto the park. If that's
Okay.
not an option, then we can obviously come up with alternatives. I mean, I think in a perfect world, we'd be able to use the parking lot for performers and vendors and things like that, but our plan is actually to utilize the 2 public parking lots, and then we're going to, once we, have official permission to use the park, I'm gonna start contacting local churches, high school, other places that we can shuttle people in from. So if we can't have access to the parking lot, that's perfectly fine. We can certainly, we have other alternative locations for
Yeah.
parking.
So then I ask you, can they have access to the parking lot? How does that even work?
Typically, if there's an event in the park, because the school is closed, it's been available, right? Since the school's been closed, it's been an overflow parking for things that are happening on Main Street.
And handicap spaces, it's good right there.
They certainly
Along the
wouldn't
wall
be
there.
exclusive, it wouldn't be exclusive parking, because other people can come and park in the lot, but if the town is still under ownership of the property, and, there haven't been plans to do anything with it, which I doubt there will be between now and August, that lot will be open, and presumably when people come to the park, they park in that lot. So that would be our expectation, that it would be utilized for that.
Were you thinking of having the playground in the fenced-in area?
No. That will be outside. Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Good. I'll make a motion to approve special use rental of Saugatucket Park by CTC on August 22nd, 23rd, 24th to hold their Renaissance Fair event.
All right.
Second?
Motion by Sean, second by Joanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. All right. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
All you
Can't
do.
wait, I already got
Yeah.
it in my phone.
We'll see you there.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So you're not staying for the monthly
No, come
financial?
on.
Oh,
Father's in town, so I gotta go.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I work at
Next
City Hall
time,
Jobs. Today
you-
was my
yeah.
first day back, so.
Okay.
I
Maybe
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah.
Feel free to contact me.
I have to get a root canal.
Thank you again,
Senator
guys.
Matt is on the commission. I'm
Yeah,
sad that
we
he's
love
not
Matt.
here, but
We love
we
Matt.
love Matt.
Awesome.
You will be an excellent addition.
Cool.
Great,
Thank you.
thanks guys.
Thank you.
Alrighty, guys. We're bouncing around. So we have the old business item D, which is also part of our correspondence and public comment. The Marina Park lot expansion, and we have feedback from the Waterfront Advisory Commission, and an email from Stack, and who's here tonight,
And also Mike Sherry.
and Mike Sherry. Hi, Mike. Welcome.
Mike wrote the email on behalf of the water.
The Waterfront Advisory.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Mike is the chair of the waterfront.
Yes, I couldn't get anybody else from the commission to come, so I'm representing you tonight.
Thanks for coming, Mike.
There
Thank
go.
you.
Okay.
Since you talk about banners a lot, we're expecting a ban a year at Marina Park when the restaurant opens. And the new ramp after 25 years.
Yeah.
And that's really the key to what we're looking at now for Marina Park is the expansion of the parking area. Mike has worked the stoning, we've got the crushed stone in there now, that's taken the mud away. So looking at clearing that area in the back and opening that up, getting all the brush out of there and taking the walkway, move it out to the sidewalk and run the people down the sidewalk over to the greenway that runs down towards the river. That would allow the parking area, and right now, I think we're 11 boat and trailer.
The existing configuration, there was 11 truck and trailer spaces under the existing parking lot. And what had happened was after the paved portion, if you remember the muddy kind of grassy mess that was there, the way things kind of naturally seemed to work out was they added a whole second row of just cars on that first stretch of grass abutting the pavement. And then the theory, the way it was laid out before, was that the trucks and trailers could pull through and leave, but because those cars always parked there because there's not enough parking, it eliminated the pull-through feature. So they were just kind of parked in the middle, and there's not enough room behind that to put a second row. And so last year when the restaurant unfortunately was closed because of the fire, if you spend any time down there on a busy weekend, what naturally happened was you had trucks and trailers pull on the stone that we had done, pulled into the asphalt, and then a second row along the back fence because there was enough room in the middle. But when you add that row of cars without trailers, we can't do that anymore. And last summer, all the asphalt was always full. So that was, without the restaurant being open, you had cars without trailers for the marina, the sailing center, the park, whatever other thing they were down there for, filling those areas. So we anticipate that this year you're gonna have all that pressure on the ramp in addition to the restaurant, which we know what that pressure already brings. We're trying to mitigate that as best we can. And this was without losing the green space proper or absent of a master plan to create new traffic patterns and parking on the road. This is kind of like, you know, the best we could come up with the minimal amount of impact.
So I know that we didn't know the nuance of, I know the last month we had, or 2 months ago when we first heard about it, we had discussed the walking path and the possibility of it staying where it was, but it sounds as though in reality it's not a real practical thing to expect.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to run the walking path right through the middle of the parking lot.
Right, yeah.
And if you look at the way it's laid out, the green section on the west side, parking area on the east side, and if you route that walkway that's there now onto the sidewalk, people can join the walkway right where the entrance is to the greenway, and that's where the wooden fence starts. So you can walk along the wooden fence and catch onto the path as it exists now, just further down.
And
yeah.
and so the flow of, so let's say we just do what you guys propose, you know, with that back area. So would there still be pull around? Is there going to be a one way? I mean, what's the flow going to look like? I mean, are there going to be trailers?
You would have, yeah, so the proposal is you would have obviously no trailer parking on the asphalt.
Yeah.
And then you would have one row as it existed previously, kind of how things happen, of no vehicle, of vehicles without trailers. Then you would have a lane to capture to allow that flow in and out of that row of parking spaces. Then we propose some type of visual barrier. Right now we're looking at like pilings with rope around them after that lane. And then so from that point north to the highway would be restricted to vehicles with trailers only. And that would allow what basically happened last summer to happen again with the addition of that extra row of cars. So you'd be pushing what happened last summer, the whole, you know, all the way back to the highway. So you'd have one row along the back, they would pull in or back in, trucks and trailers, and another row on the south side face, you know, closer to the water, pulled into that fence, that barrier that we're gonna put in.
It would be a one-way loop. You enter on the west side.
It would be a one way.
Right, off Salt Pond Road, you enter on the west
Yeah.
side, go in, and then go around and exit.
And we would have signage showing that, so that way somebody's not trying to come out, but you know.
Right. That's kind of what's there now.
Right.
It is there now.
Just to
Yeah.
refresh
Yeah.
your memories, I should have printed these.
No,
again.
that's okay. This is
just
what we
a
saw.
kind of a sketch
And
that
then
Mike
the-
had done that will show.
Yeah.
It's pretty significant.
So, kind of an unrelated question, and maybe this is one that maybe can't be answered, but maybe from last year. Have we had any sort of log jams or logistical issues, Mike, with like the trailers in general queuing up to load and unload?
Yeah.
And do we need more signage, or do we need some instructions on how that all works? Because I've seen, you know, some, you know, competent captains come and, you know, it just seems like a little bit of a mess, especially with the restaurant opening. There's going to be a lot of congestion.
The problem is, which goes to the broader discussion of getting a master plan in place, is that the traffic flow for the activity that's going on down there and the amount of activity that's going on down there, it needs to be redesigned, right? Because the
Okay.
ramp is on the opposite side of the road
Right.
from the parking, we allow parking currently
Up to
along the road.
curb, yeah,
So
which is
there's no staging.
Well, that's what I
area
was
to get your
thinking.
boat ready, so
Right.
if you're less than 20 feet your boat, you can kind of pull into like that little bump out that's directly adjacent to the entrance to the parking lot on the west side, closest to the green area.
Yeah.
But anything longer than that, you're sticking out into the road.
And
then,
you're
of
kind of in
course,
the middle of the road because cars are parked up
Right.
against the
You have two-lane traffic, and then you're backing across an active road. So absent of a master plan, which would really look at all of these things, the other issue is the pedestrian flow. First of all, there's no crosswalks, and that we've brought that up numerous times to traffic commissions, etc. Nobody wants to go down that road because of the way the road's configured. The sidewalks for channeling all the pedestrians are on the opposite side of the road of all the businesses.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have people in theory cutting across the exit and entrance lane to the highway to walk from the Job and Madness end down to the park. So there's a lot of pedestrian and parking and traffic flow issues that really need to be examined through a broader, and also additional parking. What opportunities are there for additional parking? And we've gotten preliminary support. The commission had a meeting back in July with the town council, who was receptive to the idea of a master plan. So we're hoping that in the next budget cycle to propose that when we have more definitive information to present to them.
I think that would be of huge importance, especially because, I mean, this is just, there's only so much that we can do, as far as the Parks and Recreation Commission. I mean, it's all town land down there. That's the other interesting thing. This is not private property, quote unquote. They're leaseholders. So the town's in control of that entire parcel. I'm glad to hear that conversation's starting to take foot, because I think we really need it.
On the weekends, midday usually, if it gets really crazy, I go down there and direct traffic to keep the trailers and the cars from stopping.
Yeah.
And we just flush them in there, and if they can't find a spot, they gotta go out and head down the road.
Yeah, I just wonder if there could be even, it's not a permanent solution, but maybe some temporary signage and maybe some correspondence with the restaurant owner to kind of, I don't know what really could be done, actually.
The only thing you can really do is put somebody out there and direct the orchestra.
Yeah.
Because it turns into complete chaos.
Yeah.
And it's only a narrow window too. Usually it's the weekends on the midday.
Yeah.
That the lunch crowd's descending upon the
10
place.
to 2.
The dinner crowd, usually they're coming in when a lot of trailers have already
Right.
gone. But this activity will probably go from 11 to 20, something like that,
Okay.
capacity. So, it's a significant hit being able to get a doubling of what our capacity is now. It's still shy of what we experienced.
Yeah.
And are we talking trailers, or are we also talking paddle boaters and
Paddle boaters,
kayakers,
They-
paddle boating?
Well, they have their own launch
Right.
now.
like ready.
the people stopping on the other,
Right.
and then
The other lot is amenable to that.
yeah, okay, that's true.
Exactly. Yeah, and
All right.
they have their own lane down to the water. Presumably, if this one is taken up, like the canoes and the kayaks and the inflatables will get launched on the other side. So, I guess for purposes of tonight's meeting, the commission would make a motion to accept the new plan as it.
That's your prerogative. What I would point out is, one of the items from last month's meeting, or the month before, it was January's meeting, was the idea of, and I just want to remind the commission that one of the issues that could present itself, which it probably will, but it's probably the least of them, is that there are community members who walk the entire, right? It's minimal, but there certainly are people who do that. I think, John, I think I'm speaking to one of your concerns, that was one of the items, or one of the pieces that you were concerned about. But I think when we look at this in a broader perspective, in the short term, we need to do something. In the long term, we need to do something, but we still, this needs to be addressed before June, because we know what's coming. We also know with the new boat ramp, as many boats, trucks and trailers as we've had over the years, we're going to have that many more because people know, or they'll know soon enough that there's a new boat ramp.
And it's the only place that has parking as a boat ramp, other than Great Island, which is parked along the escape road.
Right. So that's one of the things I wanted to remind you all of was the concern about removing the path had to do with current users of the path. Now, we would have to make it known to the public that this is why we need to do this, and that there's still opportunity for, walking around the whole property.
Sure.
With the exception of walking around the parking lot, but, and enjoying the park. So I think we need to have a PR plan, so to speak, to be able to make sure people are aware of it. If you decide that you agree that we need to remove that section.
Well, just like Mike said, you're still able to access the sidewalk, so you can still walk linearly down towards Java
Correct.
Madness and then back. It just wouldn't be that loop around the,
Correct.
you
It's
know.
kind of, if you look at the memo that you had with some of the pictures, when you look at the way that the park was designed initially, way back when, the parking for trucks and trailer was you park your vehicle in the paved section of the lot with your trailer over the curb in the grass. And that went on for years until 210 took over the restaurant lease and became wildly successful. And they expanded numerous times, which has put increased pressure on it. And again, they're wildly successful, that's great, but we haven't accommodated additional parking
Yeah.
for the increased pressure
Right.
that's gone. So what happened was those trucks and trailers pretty much always could park in that first row. And then it became, well, once in a while on the holiday weekends, we needed overflow, we'll let you park on the grass. Then the grass became every week, and it was a kind of a mud pit. And then, so now we've spent upwards of $800,000-900,000 to redo the boat ramp. And we saw that entire stone area was completely full last year. So that used to be an open grass area where that path was. Then we kind of isolated it with the fence when we kind of permitted the regular parking in that field. And now it's like an alleyway between the highway and the parking lot, and it's a means to a destination, right? People are getting on it and going to the loop. And as you alluded to, there's a sidewalk that can take you that loop the same way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just an unfortunate, side effect of needing and approving the more parking. So
And that's why we exist, right? You have two
Right.
issues away.
So
I'm supportive of the plan, with kind of removing access to that portion of the walking path to allow for that extra row.
Agreed.
can
Can I just check in with Rex, because he's really on top of all of this, and you feel like this is probably the best?
Yeah, I mean, I never really want to give up green
Uh-huh.
space in parks,
Right.
but this is kind of a little bit different situation here where, by not giving that up, I think we're limiting opportunities for people to utilize the boat ramp and local businesses. And they're also finding, maybe places to park where they really shouldn't be, between the
Right.
fence and the
You
highway.
don't want that.
And they're every which way, I think it's causing more trouble down there by not expanding the parking. And like Mike said, people can still access the green part of the park, the green space via the sidewalk along the road, so.
So is there going to be additional signage that's going to be needed? Mike mentioned posts, maybe with rope, and then the cost of the clearing. So where's the money coming from?
So
That was my question.
There is some money in the Marina Park Fund.
Okay.
Okay.
That Mike is finishing up, like the handicap railing on the ADA ramp. So a little bit of finish work that needs to be done on the dock and on the ramp itself. And then there's money still for the parking facilities.
That's one thing that was added with the dock project, is the handicap ramp through the waterfront green area.
Switch back. Yeah.
That's been upgraded.
Yeah. And I see people accessing that walkway, people never walked down to the water there before, and now everybody walks down.
Yeah, it's great.
In fact, the only complaint about it is that it doesn't have a return coming up along the side of the boat ramp.
Yeah.
That's what people complain about. They gotta turn around and go back the way they came.
Have we?
It's tough.
I'm sorry. I'm still working on this. Have we mapped out, whatever the rules are for parking lot design, like how much space for this and how much space for the coming and going, and how long do the trailer stripes need to be? Like, is there any room back there, or are we going straight back to Route 1 with this new back
Well,
row?
Route 1 has a keep out buffer you have to have.
Yeah.
I think you said the fence is gone in that area.
There's a chain link fence that goes part of the way, it pretty much ends where that brush
Yeah,
begins.
usually it's on the order of 20 feet, where you'll have that concrete piers with the chain link fence. Most of Route 1 is like that. For some reason, that area isn't that way, but there would be a keep out area, and I think some landscaping would be in order too. You could plant some trees along there, some arborvitae's or something that give you a screen right to the highway. I'd rather not look at the highway, thank you.
Yeah.
The parking lot can look at the highway.
And there's no way to pull from the highway before you even hit the exit into that lot, once we start clearing.
Oh,
I
right.
actually have a master plan where you're adding a lane around that backside.
Gee,
Yeah, like
The
go
exit.
four wheeling with the trailer through the
You
woods
can't
to
put
get
the
into
fence
the.
in the way.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be clear directly. So if you look at the park proper, where the green space is in the walking trail, there's a buffer between the highway and the grass. So we would look to maintain that same amount of space, so that it's not, it wouldn't be, until you get to kind of that one corner over there where the grass goes right to the chain link fence, kind of where the exit ramp is. There's no buffer there, so we would have to add buffer if we wanted to in that area.
The buffer, there is a small buffer between the walkway and the fence that's there, but that's turned into a parking lot. The exit ramp is the parking lot.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
talking further, I'm talking closer, not on the exit ramp, but on the highway
Right,
itself. Yeah.
but that concrete pillar fence does run the arc
It does.
of the
Yeah.
exit, and that fills up with quite a few cars.
If I'm having a hard time, and I understand, I'm learning about the need, but I'm having a hard time of getting rid of walkways and getting rid of green space for more parking.
I guess I would say right now that walkway doesn't go through a green space, it's going through a parking lot.
Yeah.
And there's a brush pile on the other side. So I don't think you're getting a view that's very good there. And you're running this, when you come up off the Salt Pond Road, you're walking the tar path along the side of a parking lot. When you turn to head west, you're walking along the back end of a parking lot. And then when you get to the end of the parking lot headed west, you become green on both sides. So really theoretically, I guess you could say you could leave the walkway going through the parking lot and put things on both sides and have people dodging cars, but I don't think that's a reasonable thing to do.
Is there any space to move the walkway back, these 30, 40 feet?
Back towards the highway. I think then you're looking at the idea of infringing on the additional parking we're trying to put in. Because you're gonna have to isolate the humans from the parking lot.
Sure.
You
Ideally.
also have people walking directly adjacent to the highway too, at that point.
Yeah.
If you put it on the back along the fence, now you're directing people to walk next to the highway.
The additional walking area by the docks on the waterfront where they do the music, they're gonna do that again?
The Wakefield concert,
Yeah.
yeah, there'll be some, they're not doing
Yeah.
all of them there.
So that's much more active now as a walking area. Just doing that route and heading down to the boats and walking back up. So I think the trade-off is there. You're losing a strip that's what's the width of the parking lot, you said? Maybe 300 feet on a football field.
Yeah, it's that.
So
Probably, I don't even think it's that.
Yeah, so say it's 250. You're really moving that out to the sidewalk.
Okay.
you've also, I guess to Mike's point too, you've added a walkway in a more desirable location of the park that wasn't there prior with the addition of, right, so you brought in the boat ramp and you added the path that goes from the parking lot to the boat ramp. That didn't exist before, it was just a green field, so you've added that walkway space that didn't exist before, so if you're removing this walkway space, I guess there's a little bit of a trade-off
And
for a better place to walk.
Yeah,
Like it's more
Oh, down here.
and the north-south section of the existing tar walkway, eliminating that would give you a little width for the exiting people. And that's traded off against coming up off the sidewalk onto the west side of the parking area. And that would be green along there with fences. And that would meet up at the intersection of the east-west piece. So you're really just displacing the back to the front and the side to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Thank you.
figure it gives you approximately 100% increase in our available trailer truck space, which is,
Yeah, probably more actually.
You're at more than double your size for the trailers.
For trucks and trailers.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, I mean, 11, to have a public boat ramp of the size and amount of traffic that boat ramp receives,
Yeah.
11 parking spaces is you might as well not even have the boat ramp. For the amount of capital, I mean, we put in almost $1 million into that project,
Yeah.
and you're only gonna allow 11 people on a first come, first served basis to access it.
Got it.
You know, so that's kind of the other, you know, piece of the puzzle.
if you look at the Great Island ramp over in Narragansett, there's very little parking right there. But on the weekend, you see them all the way up the Escape Road to Point Judith Road, servicing those two ramps there.
With a parking limit.
What's that?
With a parking limit too, right? You can only park there for 4 hours.
Right.
We don't have anything like that.
4072?
We don't have, so there's no overnight parking permitted in the lot across from Java Madness. From 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. you're not, and nobody's permitted to park there except for Marina Bay patrons. The lot across from Java Madness has a 72-hour limit. And we have a half a dozen spaces for trucks and trailers striped over there for people that, if you know, say you're going to the island or you're fishing overnight or things of that nature, that you can still access the boat ramp and have a place to park.
Is that still being used by the hospital? Like,
I mean, I do sometimes see hospital employees. I don't know if it's officially being used by the hospital, but there are hospital employees that utilize it, or at least people that wear scrubs. I assume they work at the hospital.
They usually park on the other side of the salt pond, headed up towards the Narragansett.
They stopped doing that recently for some reason, yeah.
any further discussion or?
Can I just wrap my head around one thing? I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
So we have this great new boat ramp. We're really excited about it. But it's being limited in how much the public can enjoy it because of the parking issues.
Yes, because
Gotcha.
what the issue with the property as it currently exists is its use, its attendance, its businesses have outpaced what the original pressure was on it.
Gotcha.
Right? The restaurant historically, before 210 Oyster Bar moved in there, it was smaller. And they also, it was like a kind of like a locals bar, you know, half a dozen people sitting around the bar that have boats down there, and maybe you get half a dozen more that came for dinner. It was not utilized to the level you see now. And then of course, the explosion of people who own boats, far more people own boats, far more people live in town, far more people visit town that have boats. So the available slips, that everybody has a waiting list. So the available place to keep your boat, absent of having a trailer and towing it to the ramp every day, is far greater than the amount of slips that are available.
The other thing that's taking place is the dockage has skyrocketed in cost. You know, a 20-foot boat's gonna cost you $4,000 or $5,000 to leave it in the water. The trailering is going way up.
Yeah, you've seen like a 40% increase just in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
in docket.
One of the things I would just have you bear in mind is that this is a short-term fix. The idea of a long-term master plan that involves the whole of the Marina Park area and, potentially Town Farm Park, and whether there's some kind of loop under the Route 1 overpass that can be developed. There will be a recommendation in the capital plan to start to put funds away so that we can have a new master plan that really addresses this type of thing, so that we don't have to continually eat into our green space to accommodate the number of people who want to be by the water. The beauty of this particular proposal is it's removing a stretch of asphalt. It's not, and it's pervious. It's not like we're laying down more asphalt. That if we had someone come in and do a master plan, they could probably reconfigure how that whole parking space looks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the traffic flow.
Maximize the space,
That's the
traffic
working
flow, all of
areas.
that. So I
Yeah,
think
in and out,
in a
one way, the
long-term
whole thing.
view, that would be our goal,
Turn.
right? Nobody wants to take away, what we have, but
One of the things that's really needed now there, that the traffic commission, and Mark Healy and I went to them several times, is traffic calming measures. They won't go for it. I talked to Craig Stanley. He said particularly he wouldn't be having a problem having some traffic calming there for his ambulances. But for some reason, traffic commission didn't want to get it off the ground, but the way that is with parking along the road,
Yeah,
the little kids are running out, going
yeah, it's
across.
super tough.
And it's scary because they
Yeah.
come off the highway and they're velocitized
Yeah,
to go 50 miles an hour down the ramp under the overpass.
yeah, it's not good.
And what's really strange in the area is there's a crosswalk on the on-ramp at that point, but they won't allow them on the off-ramps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it just
hopefully
goes to
we
show
can-
we really need a master plan for that whole area.
And that's
This would be the temporary.
the thing, we're a coastal town, that's our public space and that's our harbor. Besides the beach, that's where the public accesses the
Yeah,
water.
that's right.
It's
right.
really an underutilized, it's highly utilized, but the planning and the development of it is underutilized to what it could be.
One last question. We currently have 11 trailer spaces. And,
Oh.
sorry,
Oh,
is that accurate? I was gonna ask, how many are we planning to add?
so the old layout was 11 trailer spaces. When we put the stone down last year, because the restaurant was closed and we knew it was just gonna be Marina Park, boat trailer, people, we left it just open and kind of, we also ran up against the clock of getting things done, but, we left it kind of open to their own devices. And so, under that configuration, I think if they were parked correctly, we were sometimes approaching 35, 40 trucks and trailers under that configuration. And then, of course, you're adding, I think in my memo, for the parking for the restaurant and the marina and the sailing center and park patrons, it's like 25 spaces if we do another row there. So you're significantly increasing parking, but you're not increasing the footprint very much from what it already is. We're just reconfiguring and organizing what's down there and trying to bring some order to the chaos. Because that's the other thing too, is the cars parked between the trailers, big double trailer parking, people can't get out at the end of the day, it really is kind of a mess.
And I thought Terry was gonna get a parking attendant there.
Yeah.
How's that for a setup?
Don't take any more lifeguards.
Yeah.
Anyone else? No? Is anyone prepared to make a motion on the matter?
I'll make a motion
All right.
with the reservation. Like I agree, I hate to remove the walking paths. I'm sorry that we can't think of a way to salvage them, but I'm hoping with the master plan we can reiterate. And we have had some added walking paths, but for the significant gain of space and organization of parking so that more people have access, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Joanne to approve the new plan for parking expansion as described.
I'll second.
Second by Sean. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mm.
Okay. So moved. Any discussion now? For sure.
So we've already done that at our commission.
Okay, great. So now we're
The
double
issue
up.
was you need to reconcile because you
Because of the
had a
walking back,
reservation
yeah.
by removing the path.
Well, we really appreciate you guys kind of explaining the nuance
Yeah,
of what's going
thank
on
you.
down there and lending some color because, from our perspective, we're constantly trying to preserve open space and public access at most costs. Obviously not all costs. And obviously there's things that balance it out. And, it would be really great to see a master plan get approved, which could really take a look at all of this because this issue is obviously not the only one that we have down in Marina Park. So thank you guys so much, and thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah, okay.
Nice to see you, Mike.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good, how are you?
Anytime you guys need anything on Marina Park,
Appreciate it.
the commission.
I know, good to see you. Yeah, see you more this
A
summer.
ride on the new boat?
Yeah, can we get
When's
a
it?
ride?
Boat ride?
Spring 26?
Spring 26?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You need
No,
to try
that's-
the new boat ramp out.
That's right.
Yep. All right, folks.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
And who do we nudge and how can we nudge about a master plan
Well,
down
Terry
there?
says she's gonna include it.
That will be, that's our responsibility.
Yeah.
So next year, in the capital plan, which in August, we start to do our next.
I was gonna say,
year's
you're probably already amassing
Um,
things that you're gonna
There
want.
needs to be a proposal for, and this was talked about actually, at the capital, capital budget hearing this year, and I think we have a certain amount of funds that's in the out years to start to put away for a master plan that would include Town Farm and, Marina Park, and, connecting those two, because at one point they were all one property before, one was.
Oh,
constructed.
Town Farm is the other side of the highway?
That's
With
right.
that little playground?
And so,
And we're making accommodation for a private business parking, right?
Yeah,
Annoys
I'm
me
struggling
all
with
the
this.
Narragansett talk.
They do
Like,
lease from the town, so,
yeah.
Are they going to the town saying we want to build a second story and a back patio and we're saying yes, grow?
I think they're pretty capped out.
They are now, they're replacing what they lost in fire. They rebuilt the patio area. From what I can tell, I can tell you more about this, but they did construct the outdoor bar, which looks like, it's not capacity, it's a bar, right? I think the seating capacity outside is the same, and they have an outdoor restroom for the outdoor seating.
I remember that part, okay.
So,
Okay. Okay, guys, we'll move on. The second item in correspondence and public comment is an email from Mr. Hopkins requesting a fee waiver for the use of the rec center to benefit the Chris Collins Foundation for a cornhole.
yes,
Cornhole
the
tournament.
cornhole tournament, and.
And actually, that's also new business item A, but it's under correspondence, and we're bouncing around. So if everybody's okay with it, we can just go right there. Is that okay, guys? New business item A.
Nate, this is the organization that always did the wiffle ball.
Correct.
Okay.
This will be,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Yeah, no issues from the department on the request. I know that
It
we're-
is for a fee waiver, generally speaking. We do not have an issue with it. It's a local high school student from South Kingstown, connected to this local 501c3 Chris Collins Foundation, mental health awareness.
Yeah.
It aligns
It was
with
put on a
what
great
we're
event.
really.
They doing this instead of the wiffle ball tournament, or they're still
As
doing the
well.
wiffle ball?
No,
That's
this is
still
the
separate?
senior project. So
Okay.
this is
Okay.
separate. But the project, the funds that he'll raise will go to the
Contribute to that.
Foundation. And if you have a moment, if you haven't read his email, he has a very personal story with regard to how he connects with the Chris Collins Foundation.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, we do not have
Yeah, I wish them luck.
I'll make a motion to approve
Okay, motion by Sean,
I'll
the fee
second.
waiver.
second by Joanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck, Jackson.
Move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so we're up to the, in honor of Mark Noble, monthly financial report.
We are, we're plugging along, as you can see with the programming revenue, we're just about even, to where we were last year, which, as I think I've noted the past couple of months, we're creeping up on getting back to balance, if not hoping to exceed, revenue maybe in the next month or two, from where we were last year. So, overall, in very strong shape. I always like to remind the commission that with the programming revenue, if it doesn't come in, we're not spending it. We pay our independent contractors that way. But we do like to aim for a certain standard in terms of how many programs we complete. We like to have an 80% completion rate on our any programs that we offer. We typically do, if not better. But overall, we're in decent shape. You can see our music program in particular has really come back strong and is thriving. We're almost at 100% already, and this is just at the end of February. We have a number of new music teachers, and Brendan Moore, who is our coordinator, is doing a great job. So I want to just give him a shout out.
That's great.
On the facility side, we are about 3.5% down from last year at this time. We have seen the uptick in our town beach revenue since we opened up beach pass sales. I'm trying to remember if we did that at the end of February, because this would have only gone through February. And our rec center rental revenue, as you can see, we've already exceeded what our rental income was budgeted at by 11%. So Steve's doing a great job really maximizing the space and the time over there and balancing it with public use. So, so I think overall we're doing very well. Boat mooring fees, you'll see we've got some of those coming in now too, because it's the season where as soon as the sunny days start, we start to get our folks wanting to make sure they pay for their moorings. On the non-program revenue side, these are our trust funds. The bill is always a big one, but otherwise we're doing fine. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. We just keep track so that we make sure that the finance department knows as we get towards year end that we want to see 100% of the guild budgeted funds moved over to the guild fund. On the expense side, we're well within budget. For our general fund, we're at just under 60%, which is really where we should be at this time. Last year we were at 58%, this year we're at 59% of budget. Pretty much at full staff right now, with the exception of some part-timers, so it's good to see because we want to be at full staff. It doesn't mean we're spending all of our money, but that's what we need it for. So the general fund is on track. The guild fund 506 is also, or 306 is also on track. No surprises there. You'll see the youth budget is pretty much spent. It always is by the holidays. So that's why you see a 92%. You're not going to spend much more on the guild programming side, on the youth side until we hit the summertime. So. PDOB is where it should be. It's at 70%. I'm looking at last year. I'm not sure why we were only at 37%. I think that's just an anomaly that the finance department had munis issues at that time. But we should be at 70%. We've only got 4 months left. So, and then the rec center is at 56%, which is perfectly normal for this time of year. And then most of these accounts to monitor are the ones that we've talked about. Nothing has changed too much. You know, mostly it's equipment and machine parts, it's some overtime because we couldn't get seasonal employees, if you recall, over the summer, so, we did, need to adjust our overtime account. And, printing, because our printer jumped ship before the night, but we have a new printing contract, so we're good there. I think that's it, unless you have any other questions on the financial report?
It's real healthy for the time of year. It's great. Motion to move the monthly financial report.
I will.
Motion by Joanne.
Seconded.
Second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. All right, we have old business, item A, which is a capital project status for Old Mountain Field. Yay!
Over another hurdle. Yeah.
Good job, Terry.
The town council authorized the award of contract to E.W. Berman, they're on the board, to take on the phase 1A project at Old Mountain Field. $3.8 million is the budget. We do have a contingency in there that puts us a bit over $4 million, and we anticipate having a kickoff meeting on at the end of this week, on Friday, with the contractor, with Beta, with town staff, so that we can see what the timeline's gonna look like and get this thing on the road.
Is the plan adjusted, or did they,
Hmm.
Is the what?
the plan
The seating.
adjusted to accommodate the,
It was modified, but they did approve the alternate, so the alternate was to keep the seating area that was designed with a few modifications. It wasn't to remove it completely, because if we had done that, it just, we know we never would have gotten that feature back in the project for many, many years. So the council was very receptive. We'll be able to use some rec impact fee funds to make that happen, and obviously the rescue plan dollars. So I think it's going to be a really good investment. And thanks to Rex for shepherding this too. I mean, he's the one that's down there with the guys, and they've been working so hard on the field and, you know, the athletic components of the park. It would just be so nice to have the rest of the amenities that the park deserves. You know, so many people use it. It's just, it'll make a world of difference.
I've noticed they're working on crosswalk, are they doing like a,
Yeah, bump
is
outs.
that all?
Yeah, so that's
The bump out
DOT.
They're closing in my one way out over there. I don't
That's,
know what's going on. My whole
That's not the town, that's RIDOT,
Yeah.
Okay.
Kingstown Road. The town was aware that they were going to be doing that. As a matter of fact, I think it was in Andy's plan, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
design bump
That's why I asked, yeah, I
If
remember
we were
it
ever
being
gonna
in
get
there.
to that part of the
Yeah, I remember,
project,
yeah.
which
Like,
probably
oh, they're
wouldn't
started
get for a
already.
long time, so.
Well, they're not doing it as exaggerated as what I saw in the plan, right? The plan was kind of, are they doing what we had?
No, they weren't doing what we had
No.
in the master plan, but it is enough to calm, you know, traffic.
Yeah.
And they're doing it all along Kingstown Road, I think down by the library and the open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are cones everywhere.
Yeah,
Great.
so, so that's a bonus for us.
But
to
not
put that
paving it?
Yeah, when's that happening, dude?
That's
Next
part of
summer?
the whole project.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yep.
Desperately need that to be.
Yeah.
So
Great.
we'll keep you
Cool.
posted
Thank you,
on the
Terry.
timeline.
Great news.
Very exciting.
May I ask a park related question, just out of curiosity? Rex, you have a sign that's like keep off turf or something, like field not available yet.
So we did put 2 signs on the baseball field because
Yeah.
we're still finishing up the renovation of that.
Mhm.
We're adding infield mix. We have about half the infield mix down, and we had to order 1 more load, so we're hoping tomorrow and Wednesday we'll get the rest of the infield mix down. Some finishing touches on the mound, and then we've got to put the backstop net up. And I would think by the end of this week, early next week, then we can take those signs down and the field will be usable.
So the South Kingstown High School team will be playing games on it soonish, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, they should be practicing on it next week.
Cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
yep. And actually, you know, I've been working right along with Terry Lynch on this and Keith Malone, the high school baseball coach, and they were, you know, anticipating maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season being over at Broad Rock with the varsity team. We're actually ahead of schedule because we got some really good weather. We got ahead of schedule last fall, further along in the field than I had hoped.
Right.
In the spring, I didn't think we'd be this far along right now, and they're gonna maybe miss, well, their early season practice, a lot of times, they're not even starting this soon anyway. So they're gonna be right on time. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's exciting.
And the Waves know about the changes coming, and is that going to impact their season? Like, how's that timing work when we start digging
When do you
and
think we'll break?
redoing them? Is that all
As we
happening?
understand it, the baseball field will not be impacted. That the construction site is outside of that and
Yeah.
will be fenced off and isolated. Same question was posed at the town council meeting, very relevant question. I don't think, I don't know. I'll tell you after Friday. We'll have a better idea.
I think what the thought is too, is that the existing bleachers that are there, we need to find a spot, hopefully maybe over along the edge of the parking lot by the third base dugout, where they can still be utilized. We may have to put like some Jersey barriers or something behind that, so that
Right.
there's no chance of cars running into it.
Yeah.
But I think in looking at the whole site, I think we can put them over there and still fence off the construction site and be able to utilize those bleachers. So we're not really gonna take away that much spectator seating. The whole hillside along the left field side will be open, the outfield area. So,
Yeah, and most people have their camping chairs and stuff along
Yeah,
the baselines as opposed to behind the dugout.
right.
Okay, thanks.
Very exciting.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, old business item B is a review of the proposed play structures and designs for Turnertown Park and Fagan Park playgrounds.
Yeah, so I've included a bunch of aerial photos and renderings here. I've been working with M.E. O'Brien Company, they gave us a couple of different design ideas. This is the latest design, and this first, it's not really that easy to read, but this is the layout, and it's the overlay of the new play structures over the top of what's existing. And I'll point out, you can kind of, as we go through some of these photos, but the additions are, the main play structure is gonna be larger. It's more of they call it like a circuit type playground where it allows for circuit play within the playground. There's a lot of different balance components, there's different slides, there's different climbers within that. And then
Fagan right now?
what the new plan does.
Or Fagan, where are
No,
you?
we're talking about first.
Tuckertown.
Yeah, because this is where we're changing the playground the most. And another thing that I want to point out is that I wanted to add some components that are new and interesting. And one of them was I really wanted to add a zip line component into the playground. But in order to do this, we had to remove the swing set. And I don't have an issue with that because the location of the swing set, because it intersected or bisected the two components of the playground, one thing you never want to do with a playground is put a swing set in the middle where kids have to go through the swing set.
Totally.
So what this does,
Such
it
a,
not only creates a circuit within that main play structure, but kids, they enter the playground at this end. Over on the right-hand side is where kids enter the parents enter the playground. There's this one play structure. Then there's a zip line to take them to the other end of the playground where the rope climber is.
And the rope climber stays?
The rope climber's gonna stay. That's in good shape. I
Yeah.
had our vendor look at it.
Well loved.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's gonna stay. The saddle spinners that are there are gonna be relocated to make room for, it's called an oodle swing. And if you go to this picture right here.
Yeah.
It's almost like a tire swing, but it's a swing where multiple kids can ride it. It's ADA compliant, so a child in a wheelchair could be lifted onto it.
I found my kid on it all the time.
The place of the swing set, basically. The other nice addition that we added was a couple of shade structures.
Yeah.
So that we have a shade structure down at the end where we have a couple of picnic tables, and then we have a shade structure on one of the bench areas. And they're gonna be new benches because they're old aluminum benches there. So we're gonna do the nice recycled plastic benches. And so I mentioned that we're gonna do shade structures. I mentioned that to my wife. She said, well, make sure you have benches that aren't in the shade in case someone will sit in the sun. And I said, you make a good point. So that's why we're only doing 2 shade structures.
Are there going to be more opportunities for benches to be purchased through the bench program down there, Rex? Or
We could definitely look at that because we have plenty of room around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have not had any requests for benches at the playground. Usually people have specific places to put the bench.
a
But,
lot of people, I don't think even really know that they can. Actually,
Yeah.
it's not like something we're really pumping all the time.
No,
You know.
but, you know,
In the
as benches,
In the newsletter.
so as benches come up, I
I
can,
like that
I
idea
can
for my bench.
suggest
I'm gonna
this
put my
is
bench
a
there.
location for a
Tuck
bench.
it down.
SJ300 bench, right?
We got lots of memories.
So
of
Rex,
Tuck
you
It
don't
Town.
think it's a problem not having? I mean, they're not having any swings in that location.
Yeah.
No, well, the reason I say no is because most every other playground has a swing set.
Okay.
It's, you know, really the only other playground that doesn't have a swing set is Curtis Corner,
Yeah.
but every other playground does.
Okay.
Not too many neighborhood families are walking to this park either,
Right.
to the local swing set.
Yeah.
That's a drive.
This is kind of a swing of sorts.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. No, it's cool. They have one in Jamestown, I think.
Yeah.
And did I see a hammock?
Pardon me?
Did I see a hammock at the
Yeah,
front?
on the far end.
Well, it's actually, it is kind of a hammock, yeah, on the playground itself, yeah, yep. It's, yeah, kids can lay on there and swing around, so, yeah, yep.
What else is it? If you have some hesitancy to
What
call it a
else?
hammock.
It's kind of a balance, you know, kids could stand on it. and
Yeah.
balance,
Plastic?
Sit on it.
I didn't know if it was like a
It's poly?
slide.
Yeah, it's poly,
Oh,
yeah.
it's poly. Okay.
Yep. This actually, the structure, I did check out a very, very similar one over in Newport. I think it was Braga Park. And then this similar parts of this component, this plate structure is also a Cardin's field.
Oh.
So I looked at very similar ones. I think it's just, it's new, vibrant colors. It's got a lot of moving balance components and a lot, in this one structure, so many different play opportunities.
The circuit's great too. I know that the kids really love it. To kind of keep them moving through it. And,
Yeah.
It's kind of like the new thing rather than having static this year.
Where was this 15 years ago?
I know.
We would have had a field day at the zip line thing.
Great.
That would have been so much fun.
They have it
Well,
so
this is
good.
the end of the circuit. It would be like the whole thing, so you could like kind of start.
And how
here,
far have we
and
come
you could
since the
walk
days
across
of the
this,
metal
hop across
slide,
this, you get
the-
over to this thing, go down
The
slide,
twirly
and
thing that you
hop
would
across.
just throw them
Maybe
fly
nice
off.
rock.
and
They're going on the
Yeah,
asphalt,
everything is
right?
still there. The big
Yeah.
rope thing. So,
Okay.
do you need a motion for any of this, or is this just an FYI, Rex?
Well, I did want a motion, just because it's, you know, it's a
Okay,
change in what's
yeah.
there.
Can I ask about a timeline? I'm just excited and curious.
September construction,
Okay.
with probably completion around October, early November.
Only if you make the motion tonight.
I make a motion.
Wait, you gotta hear about Megan first.
So Fagan is basically, I mean, it's kind of similar to what's there. It's not, I'm not really changing the layout or anything. It's just replacing the existing play structure with a new and improved, updated, more interesting, vibrant colors. The swing set is also going to be replaced, so we can do 2 strap swings and then a taunt swing. Great.
Awesome.
I
love
The
it.
adult swing too.
Mhm.
One that doesn't actually swing.
Over there.
Right.
That's one of the benches.
I make.
Great,
I'm-
Rex. These look great. Any other questions, guys?
Are
you still willing to make a motion,
Make a
John?
motion.
I'll
Yes.
second that motion.
All right, motion by John to move forward with the recommendations for the play structure improvements at both Fagan and Tuckertown Parks, seconded by Joanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mm.
Okay, New business B. We have a status update on the Affordable Housing Initiative and Development Concepts for Wakefield Elementary, South Road School, and Oliver Watson House, with a upcoming public work session next month.
Yes, so the council has had, a previous work session with, Union Studios.
I listened to that one.
Yes,
There was the last one, yeah, where they talked about the board and commission's responses to the
okay, yes.
questionnaires. That's what we're
So
talking
I think that's the one. So they did have a meeting, they went again through a lot of the concepts. No decisions were made. This is a big deal, and there is a sense, there's a strong, I guess I would say that, how I perceive it is a strong sense that the council is very motivated to try and utilize all of these properties to some degree and develop them. So, but no decisions have been made. This meeting that's scheduled for April 24th is with, again, with Union Studios. It's a public work session, and I think this is the time where they will try to narrow down some decisions, or at least a direction for each of these properties that they want to go on. It is public. There still has been some outcry on particularly the Wakefield Elementary School property. There's a petition. I would guess that folks from the community will be present at this meeting. They certainly did take into consideration the feedback from the boards and commissions, but ultimately it's up to them to make the decision on how they want to proceed with each project.
Okay, thanks, Terry.
Mm.
New business item C is a proposal to collaborate with the South County Tourism Council, for the possible installation of a Thomas Danbro troll in a public South Kingstown Park sometime in 2026.
What's that mean?
Yes, so
Is that
if
money?
you're not familiar with the trolls, have you all seen the troll? It's the trolls in Univert Park. This year, there will be another troll in North Kingstown, Ryan?
I believe so,
At
yeah.
Ryan Park, and then also at a state DEM site, I forget where, I apologize. But so there's 2 new trolls that will be introduced in the fall of this year, 2025. Louise Bishop, who is the chairman of the South County Tourism Council, we had a conversation about a month ago, and they are looking to 2026 for possible locations for 2 more installations of Thomas Danbro trolls. What's interesting, the artist creates stories around the trolls, and within Rhode Island, my understanding is that each one that he creates, they're all connected in some way, and that the story spins from each troll that is constructed. It's also, he's an environmental artist, so he constructs these trolls out of mostly wood, but natural items. Uses a lot of volunteers that work with him, and so the idea is that there will be 2 more to be potentially constructed in 2026, and that I think that that's the 3rd and final year, and there will be some culmination of the story that surrounds all of the trolls that are in Rhode Island.
Are there certain requirements of the site
Yes, so, and what would have to happen is.
Like accessibility requirements and other requirements, or?
I think yes, probably accessibility, although if you've been to the one in Innisbrook, those trails are not exactly
Right,
wide open.
that's
But
right.
it's part of the, I think it's part of the storytelling
Okay.
and
You have to go
not
find it.
immediately, it's just not presented when you pull into a.
Right. So you're gonna be walking through the New Noise Farm property, looking for this troll.
The parking lot will not be big enough. One of the requirements is that it has to be sufficient parking.
How big is?
So Rex and I we were just throwing around ideas. This is very preliminary.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
we
yeah.
did,
Turn
I
off
did
the-
say to Louise, I think it would be a great thing for
Absolutely.
South Kingstown to be able to host a stroll in one of our parks.
Yeah.
Right here, we
which
have
is why
brand
I'm
new playground, and we could
bringing it
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
park it like
recognition
right
now.
Sponsor signs.
I think it's a great opportunity possibly to bring some activity and spread out the usage in our parks and maybe some of the underutilized parks or maybe some of the parks that are in
Hidden
need of
gems.
trail restoration. We have a couple hidden gems. But that's why I wanted to ask about parking and whatnot, because, we had the URI group come talk to us about Tri-Pond Park. We're in the nature center right here with, I don't know, just
Yeah. no.
rather than, Old Mountain or Tuckertown, the parks that are already, or Marina Park where
busy, yeah.
everybody's already gravitating to, it would kind of be cool. That's just my opinion, but,
Mhm.
So one thought I had was Green Hill Park,
Green Hill Park.
because it's, but there's limited parking
There
there,
is.
and,
Yeah.
but, it's kind of maybe a little underutilized, and it might get people out there.
That's right.
But
it's closer to
Treaty Rock.
Ninigrid already.
there's like 2 parking spots for you.
I know, well, that's part of the problem. Maybe the parking could be expanded because, like the trail system and the significance of the site to the community and to the history of our area is significant. And I just feel like it's hidden. Well, it wasn't always like that.
Right.
I mean,
So,
I love it. Ninigrid had a Department of Transportation like flashing signs saying troll parking, big arrows. I mean,
Yeah.
it was bigger than I thought it would be. Like dozens of parking
And that
spots.
is one of the points that in our very preliminary discussion, it was, you need to have sufficient parking. But that's not to say, can't look at a potential site maybe off the
is it
right
definitely a
path.
site? Yeah. I mean,
Marina.
And it's very preliminary. What would happen is Louise Bishop would come, walk the site with Rex and me, a couple of sites that we would put forth to say, these are, areas that we think might be suitable. And then she would either ask to see more or, and she's worked with him now on the number of trolls, the first 2, and then now the North Kingstown and the other DEM site. So she'd be very involved because the South County Tourism Council, I believe, is the funding source through grant.
That's the question I'm
Right,
where's
so,
the money?
so as I
Yeah.
understand it, and I think we probably would have to be partners in either seeking or trying to find funding to be able to do something like this, but, I think it was I think it's the one in North Kingstown, it's around, if I read the contract correctly, it's in euros, but, $240,000, which does sound, after doing the Ostara sculpture, with Peter Diefenbach, it does sound like
That's just the cost of the installation, correct? What about all the improvements and everything that need to be made to the site? Is that just the cost of the piece?
I don't have that much detail,
Yeah.
but more or less that is the development, design, and construction of the piece.
And are they open to sites outside of town sites? You mentioned DEM, that's state. We also have,
Land trust.
SKLT Land Trust and other areas, Audubon.
I'm sure they
Nature
would be,
Conservancy.
but we were really focused on let's feature one of our parks,
Okay.
if we could. you know,
Yeah.
if it was a good thing. But ultimately, the artist and Louise, who's done this a few times, kind of decide. But this is really just for you to know that it sounds exciting. 2026 is also a big year. It's the semi-quincentennial of the United States. And that may be, you know, somehow coinciding with that. But,
There'll be no-
Okay. Thanks, Terry. That is exciting.
Okay.
Just in the know. Our
Can't
last
find the
new
other
business
spot.
item, since we did ERA, is Town Beach parking. Update on the establishment of a single lot for extended public parking after 9 p.m. Implementation of Park mobile app for Kingstown Beach.
So I did include in your packet just a kind of a brief overview after all of the discussion that we've had on, you know, the opportunities that might be there to utilize the beach parking lot beyond its current use in the summer. We've come up with a few different things that will allow us to try some things out and potentially alleviate some of the parking problems on Matunic Beach Road without disrupting the summertime operation of the beach. But just to get back to the current parking at the town beach, in season, it's pay to park, that's what it is. After a certain time, it's free parking, right? We all know that. That's what it is. People can park there and walk down Matunic Beach Road, they can walk down Cards Pond, they can go wherever they want. They can park there after 5 o'clock in the summer. During the off,
Gates open
the gate is open
Until
until
9
9
p.m.
o'clock.
until 9 p.m.
Right,
Right. So
So-
5 to 9.
more or less, yeah, right. During the off season, it's open 24/7. I mean, it's not supposed to be overnight parking, but for all intents and purposes, it's open to the public anytime they want to park there. So for town beach parking this season, what Rex and Linka and I and the chief talked about was trying to come up with a way to alleviate some of the Matunic Beach Road parking issues by identifying one lot. I mean, during the daytime, it's summer parking, so they have to pay if they want to go to the beach or the oceanist, they have to pay to park if they want to park in the beach lot. But in the evening, when we have the four, in the last page of your packets, there's a little diagram that probably helps understand it better, but what we have are 4 lots within the beach property, and for this summer, what we're proposing to do is to leave lot 4 open, add a gate right after the entrance to lot 4, so that we can still secure the rest of the beach parking and the beach at 9 o'clock, but that this lot can remain open. We would not close the gate at the main entrance of Matunic Beach Road, and lot 4 could remain open until midnight.
But people
or
would stay
after.
longer, right?
They could stay longer, but if they did stay longer, they would get ticketed.
So
So,
the bar closed at 1 a.m. Bar's closed at 1 a.m.
yeah, so there would be signage, and it would be hit or miss to start with, right? So there would have to be patrols down there.
Because when they have a concert, let's say, the Oceanist has a concert starts at like 10:30, gets out at like 12:30, 12:40, people are gonna be like, you know, stumbling back to their cars, at, you know, close to 1 a.m. Are they good? I assume a lot of this is because of the parking issues that the businesses have
Correct.
at that time of night. Right?
Right, so this, well, it's the street, the roadway that has the
Yeah,
parking problem.
Right,
But,
right.
so,
So I'm just
people
saying,
parked here, they have to be out of the lot at 1 a.m.
okay,
That would be the deal.
okay.
We would need lighting in the lot. You know, we have some concerns that the
Garbage.
police need to really take under consideration is security, lighting, you know, all of those things that come along with late night kind of, you know, you're leaving a party or a concert or what have you.
Yeah.
people staying overnight, because we're not locking the main gate. We don't have a staff person there at 1 AM in the morning to close the gate. We would rely on the police, whoever's on third shift, to do a loop through that lot and.
Porta Johns?
I think we did not consider porta johns.
Is this only gonna be the ocean mist?
It's not specifically for the ocean mist, it's to alleviate parking along Virginia Beach Road.
But will it pretty much just be about the ocean mist?
Well, it's a single business owner of 90% of the
Yeah.
businesses
Yeah.
in that.
Businesses lined up.
Here's what I'm thinking,
Oh.
we just lease that lot.
During the summer, I would be hesitant to do that, because it's used every day during the summer, so in the daytime hours, it's used.
Could that even work, just nighttime, for these hours, 9 to 1 AM? Then they pay whatever funds we were hoping to gain from charging people to park there, they just pay us,
Stick a parking attendant there.
and then they pay for the parking attendant, clean up garbage, making sure people are out of there.
I mean, some incarnation of that is not crazy in my opinion, because I mean, we are aware that the business ownership group is lobbying even for a zoning change in that area to allow a brewery, certain type of services there. So there's only going to be increased need for parking, especially later on in the evening. And something's going to have to happen on a more permanent scale, I think, eventually. I mean, maybe not just this summer, but, and I'm sure the town council knows that too, because or at least the planning board, because they're the ones that are hearing all of these proposals right now.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to create a precedent, so to speak, on something that could be a headache for our department. I think we should be helpful, and if the lot's available, it should be used. But I'm just wondering, as far as the concern items, the trash, the lighting, the security. Okay, there's no porta johns available.
And we're accommodating a business that doesn't have enough parking for their business.
It could get a little sticky and present a couple problems, and I mean, maybe on a very kind of trial basis. I mean, if we agree to support this, is this a permanent motion of support, or is this support for a trial
Pilot,
program here? Just
I
for
think this is all pilot. Park Mobile is pilot. We're trying it down at Moonstone Beach Road only for the coming year. None of this is in stone. We have those same concerns,
okay.
although last month, was it last month, Sean?
I
I think so, yeah.
So one of the other things was, one of the comments that I don't remember if it was you, Sean.
Maybe.
It's like, people aren't gonna park here because they don't wanna walk that far.
Yeah.
So
Until they're forced to, I mean.
Because the ticketing's gonna need to ramp up if we're doing
Yeah.
all this, right? That
Yeah.
has to be
Yeah.
enforced, and those no parking spots.
Yeah.
It's an interesting situation. It's not that far of a walk.
You take a bus there,
Well, we can certainly,
half a
I
mile.
would.
Where are we at
I
right
feel
now
more
with
comfortable
all of this?
On a trial basis. We're here with you all.
Okay.
This is not, the council has talked about, well, how can we generate revenue? It's not all about revenue. It's about just capacity in
Yeah.
general. And not turning our beach public parking, except for June, July, and August, into paid parking year-round because it's a public park. It's accessibility to our town beach from September to Memorial Day without any, it's for the community, right?
Definitely, like,
If I may, I think, Will, you bring up some really good concerns, as we did, things like trash, porta johns, things like that. So, I think it's worthwhile have a conversation with the business owner, and to what point do they take responsibility for trash along the roadway now, all those parking spaces, and try to maybe create a working relationship. Right, we're gonna open up the parking lot here, and we know that 90% of the people that use it are gonna go with your business. That's why we're meeting. So maybe, help us out with monitoring for trash and things like that, so each staff doesn't have to go pick up a parking lot every morning.
That's my main concern. Yeah, I don't want this to be a burden on our staff.
Right.
Maybe not even having to be staff there, but now coming back in the morning, and instead of concentrating on the task at hand, getting the beach ready and everything ready, now there's triage because there's from the night before, there's trash everywhere, there's
Cars.
other things, other
Cars up
cars.
We've
Um,
talked
and you're not going to be able to completely prevent that, but you don't. There is going to be an element of that. There's going to be an element of responsibility that our staff will undoubtedly have to take on with any sort of agreement to utilize this lot just inherently. But I just don't want it to become burdensome or.
we don't either.
Yeah.
There is definitely that, and Joanne brought it up at the last meeting very clearly. Talk to the business community.
Yeah.
And find out what they can, how we can work together.
Because here's the thing, we're talking about after hours parking, right? 5 p.m. until 1 a.m. per se, You just have to take, okay, well, why are people coming down there during that time? What are the businesses that are open at that time that would benefit from this overflow parking? Can those business owners be contacted and just have some dialogue as far as a cooperative effort to, to make sure that this works smoothly and that this area remains pristine? Right now, there's no trash over there.
The more I think about this, the more I don't like it. Like the busiest days, my assumption is the busiest days at the beach are the mornings after the busiest days at the Ocean Mist, where this is all going to happen, Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday. And whatever we decide here, I would love to revisit this in September or October with info or stats from the police and from the beach crew, the lifeguards, the parking attendants at the beach. I would love
Lessons learned.
Yeah, and I reluctantly grunted an eye for more parking, and now I'm.
But I think this could be my sense is that we're talking this through, thinking that a trial is probably the best way to go, that there's no guarantees that this is.
I'm open to as far as a trial, but I would want to know, really, what needs our department has in order to make, what are the non-negotiables in order for us to feel comfortable, passing a motion on this.
Right.
Lighting, how's that going to work? Is it temporary lighting, Rex, are they proposing?
That's all open for discussion. I mean, solar powered lights,
Permanently installed?
I think probably not initially.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think we've gotten that far yet.
In dark sky, isn't she down there?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have any lighting like that down there.
We do have some parking lot lights, some spotlights
Yeah,
in the main, around the pavilion and stuff.
but not in this
Right.
way out way back there, but those are the things that, we would wanna be very.
We have to be sensitive because if it's a dark sky area and or sensitive habitat area, I'm sure the other commissions that deal with protecting those type of locations would probably want to chime in as well. So I wouldn't want us to make a motion of approval without kind of hearing what else is potentially an issue down there that we may not even be thinking about right now.
Okay. How do you feel about talking over?
That's fine.
That's great.
Nobody has cell service down there anyway. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think, if I'm hearing you, you want some more information on
Yeah, I mean, as it's presented right now, I don't know if I'm speaking for the group, if any of us is really comfortable making a motion of approval, even on a, obviously, if we did, it would definitely be on a trial basis, but without the answers to those questions that we don't know, specifically, you know, timing, lighting, staffing, rubbish, you know, it's hard for us to.
And why isn't parking along the road expanded?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Once you get to mailboxes, and then you get to,
Look at like this stretch here from the entrance to our town beach.
and it
to-
could also be emergency vehicle
It is.
egress.
It's not wide enough. Like it's.
I think it's mainly like the emergency,
Yeah.
fire trucks,
Yeah.
you know, ambulances, that type of thing. I could be wrong, but that's my guess.
So can we table this? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, let's table this until we have more information, and let's move on to the mobile app for the parking at Kingstown.
We are trying this out
I
this
think that'd
summer,
be great.
and that doesn't mean people can't have stickers and, cottage passes, they do, it's not an issue, but the park mobile app allows someone not to have to go to the gate to buy a day pass, the gate is in Town Beach, to buy a day pass, stick it in their window, or come, they can just go right to Moonstone Beach Road, they click the QR code, they pay online. The town gets paid from the park mobile, obviously they keep us flat, but the town gets paid, by the park mobile folks once a month.
And the police can check that.
The police can check that, they have admin access to the, site so that they can see that, you know, registration, QR, whatever, paid at this time, and, you know, they're still, it's still valid. Once it times out, they can issue a ticket. So somebody could pick a pocket and have to get a ticket if they don't keep up it.
And this is happening anyway. We don't have to make a motion on this.
This is happening, we're gonna try that one.
Great.
I'm sorry, maybe you said this. Is it all day parking and just buy the pass, or is it 4-hour parking on
On Park
Moonstone?
Mobile, you can select how many hours, you can select your time frame,
Okay.
and then,
Could you
no, you can't, I'm sorry, it's all day, if you pay for the, you
Yeah.
pay for, and then you can stay all day?
yes,
You pay for the day.
yeah, yeah. I was actually thinking about when I did the park, on one of those apps,
Yeah.
you can pay for it, right?
Have that option.
Yeah, we're not set up that way.
Okay. Yep. That does it for new business. On to division reports.
As far as parks go, we pretty much talked about everything. Staff over the next couple of weeks is gonna be really busy, just preparing athletic fields, opening park restrooms, putting all our plumbing back together, painting field lines, putting goals in place, so, that's what we've been doing. We recently made some repairs to the Curtis Corner Playground, we replaced one of the connecting decks in a bridge, and just due to wear and tear and rust on those pieces. Talked about Tucker Town and Bacon Park playgrounds. The Riverwalk fence repair and replacement update. I'm in weekly contact with the contractor on that. All the steel fence panels are at the powder coating company right now, getting resurfaced. I anticipate within the next 2 weeks they'll start replacing those. And then the big wooden fence between the Riverwalk and Paul Massey Chevrolet, I'm being told by the end of this week they're gonna start removing the existing and putting the new back in place.
Hey Rex, any issues with the DEM's herring counters and all that kind of stuff?
They did contact me,
Okay.
about being able to access the boardwalk to do their.
Right.
So I updated them on the boardwalk project. They still can access the boardwalk, so
Okay.
just make sure all the barricades are in place before and after they come and go. and-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool. So they're going to be able to do their
We're not
thing.
preventing them from doing that.
I was just thinking about, the next couple weeks and the time we'd be here like,
No, they can still get out there and do what they need to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
And there's volunteer opportunities too. Out the herring.
Old outfield baseball, I talked about that a little bit, the infield.
That's another thing.
We should have the infield reconstruction completed at the end of this week. We recently had to replace a wire harness in the first base light tower. So I had to get a permit to remove the osprey nest. EW Audette came, they made all the repairs, so all the lights are up and running now on the field.
That's where he moved back in.
As a matter of fact, the day after they were done, I look up and there's the osprey.
Really?
on top of it.
Yeah, they're
No
not,
way.
They're not
Yeah.
dumb.
So they did put a new cap on top of the pole, so one of the problems was a lot of debris got down inside the pole. So that was maybe one of the contributing problems to the wiring, but they also said mice got into the box and chewed through some of the wiring, so, yeah. It happens.
They put a camera up there too?
Yeah, live feed, those are revenue generating.
That'd be awesome.
Sponsors.
Very
Baseball,
little vandalism.
Crosby Cam.
David Spencer. And then we have 2 pieces of equipment I'm still waiting, well, the large area mower, we did take, delivery of that. That's one of the, Toro 12-mount tri-deck mowers, and then our utility body pickup truck, we're still waiting on that, probably be a couple more months. And then finally, the Assistant Park Superintendent Jeff Banks did provide a listing of some of the projects they've been doing out in the field. A lot of work on the bike path this winter, and it doesn't matter how much we try to keep ahead of the trees, it seems like we still have down trees.
I get at least 3 or 4 texts or posts
Yeah.
or comments every time a tree goes down on the bike path.
Every time she goes down, Sean's.
Hey, I
Sean's
know,
phone buzzes.
they know about it already, I
I patrolled the
promise.
whole bike path this morning because of the wind last night, and then I go on to Facebook tonight and see, oh, there's a tree across the curb.
Right?
Yeah.
Man.
So,
A lot of wind.
Okay, thank you, Rex.
Unless you have any questions.
Oh. Yeah, we have Lankas. Looks like it was a good month.
It was a good month. Just one item that of note, the town beach got an award of a grant of $1,625 from the Rhode Island Interlocal Trust to purchase UHF portable radios to be able to communicate directly with SKEMS, so there's not any interference in the event of an emergency. So
Great,
Cool.
helps. Lanka wrote that grant.
great, good job, Rick.
All right. Well, we want to mention, I know it's not on the agenda, but the URI beach monitoring.
It's not on the agenda, but yeah.
Yeah.
The University of Rhode Island received a grant for, and I believe this has come before the commission a couple years ago, and it's a professor who is working in the coastal arena of erosion and control and climate and the impact on the coast, and they received a grant that allows for them to purchase equipment to be able to monitor the erosion of the town beach. And what they have asked the town is to be able to put up a camera that would monitor the conditions of the beach, and also maybe some other equipment that they would be using to help them gather data as it relates to how the ocean and others are impacting our town beach. And we're working with them to allow them to store their equipment in the off-season and be able to have access to the town beach to be able to collect that information for the long term, for at least 3 to 5 years.
So the benefit to us is they're gonna put up a camera that will be pointing in both directions on the beach, and we'll have access to the camera, so that we can log on, and I can go on at 5 o'clock in the morning, see the condition of the beach.
Yeah, you don't have to go drive down there,
Yeah,
nice.
to know, all right, how many people do I need to get down there this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
That's great.
And
How was
the
it?
parking lot
And when
number
will
4.
that,
Share
is
the
that gonna
data
happen
with
for this
us?
summer, Rex?
Yeah, it's supposed to be, because, yeah, they have grant money, so they need to get moving on this.
It's all wireless?
Yeah, it'll be solar powered, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Our only commitment to this would be to put up a pole for them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
And they would share their data with us too?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's great.
How's the beach looking?
And I'll tell you, once a week I'll get down there, and then after last night, I said, oh, I'm gonna get out there. So,
God.
it's
Still there?
It's in great shape.
Wow.
Great.
What was the one?
I saw that
Came back.
happening at the mouth, and they're against it. They're
Oh,
gonna
yes.
move on that now. And
Oh, they're actually doing it right now?
yeah, they're gonna dredge the
Took that
mouth.
down.
Well, here, let me,
Closed.
I'm just gonna close it up first, guys, and we
Oh,
can
sorry,
chat.
sorry. No chat.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the division reports?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by John, second, by SJ300 here. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next meeting of the commission is scheduled for Monday, April 21st at 6:30 PM. That's gonna be at the senior center.
Oh.
Senior center.
All right. The senior center, yep, and, that's it, guys, for tonight. Anyone, would like to make a motion
to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by Joanne.
Seconded.
Second by John.
Calendar now.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Yeah, just because.